Once in a while we get a customer that has, whether it's a tape deck or a piece of stereo equipment, preamp, power amp, whatever, and they want their item changed over cosmetically. A lot of people want this McIntosh look, and this is a Tascam BR20, and we've had a request to do these for quite a while. We're going to be doing 4 of them, and they're going to be available through Fernando at SkyFi Audio out on the East Coast. He's got a great website, and these machines are going to be sold by him. They're a very nice machine, very popular, 7.5, 15 tape speed, calibrated from the front panel. The front panel can flip up and the controls are down in there, so you can calibrate it without having to tip the machine on its back. It's a very straightforward machine. We'll get it recording and go back and forth between tape and source. This is a really nice female singer, Candace Springs. That's the CD that we're listening to. Tape. Tape. CD. Love goes, but it don't last. When it's you, you don't last. Don't walk past the chance that might not come your way again. I saw you the other day, but I lost you in the crowd. Try to listen to my heart, but the silence was too loud. Hope I'm not too late. Hope you're worth the wait. 'Cause I've been waiting. It's a very, very nice machine. Put it through its motions. It's got a real nice transport. A couple of features that some others don't have. There's something here called spool, if I remember right. Spool. That's when you're in fast forward or rewind, it'll slow down the speed so the tape packs on the reel a lot more even. There's some machines have it, but not many. We'll let it run out so you can see the shut off. Real nice counter. Can do a lot of things with the counter. Find songs and whatnot. Very good looking machine. Looks, complements the McIntosh equipment perfectly. very positive. These buttons are real size, small, large. Input. What we did with this one, gutted it down. We had to refinish the front panel completely. Repaint, re-letter, repaint. These come from the factory with these installed rack mount pieces, so you can't put side panels on them. You know, it's basically designed to be a rack mount. The original legs are real, I don't know, they're not very good, so we made these aluminum legs. And the sides, SkyFi wanted the sides to be perfectly flat with a matte black finish, and they came out really good. Changes the cosmetics of the machine drastically, really. Gives it a real smooth, rich look. The back of the machine has both RCA and balanced in and outs. So you can use it with either RCAs or the balanced. Not much else that I can say about it. It's got a splicing block built onto it. It's just a nice machine, and these are going to be available only through SkyFi Audio. So if you want one, you get a hold of Fernando out there and work with him to get one. And we'll show you, you know, the second one that we're doing for him is all torn apart right now. So we'll go and we'll show you that one, and you can see pretty much what's inside of one of these things and what you got to do to get it tuned up. These things are a whole different animal than a Technics. The switches and the pots and everything are very hard to clean and service. These switches here, you can take those off and you can get to them. So servicing those is okay. These micro switches are sealed. I don't know why they made all these sealed up like that, but it makes them very, very, very difficult to clean and service. All you can do is keep moving that button up and down, clicking it in and out, and then putting some deoxit up around the button and hope that it soaks in there. That's the only way to get anything into those little micro switches. The pots also, it's kind of hard to see, but these are the line in and line out pots. And those two, for whatever reason, are the housing on them practically seals them up. So you can't really even service them like a normal switch. So you got to do the same thing. You got to rotate this thing as good as you can and get the deoxit down in there as good as you can. Soak it fairly well. That's really the only way to do it. And all these controls here are what make the tape deck work. So the biggest part of the switches, cleaning the switches, is on this panel right here, which is on the bottom of the machine. Internally, let me see. You can see here and here, those are tiny little adjustment pots. Same thing. All you can do is rotate them and try to get that deoxit in there as good as you can to clean the control. There's no other way. There's no hole in the housing that you can squirt stuff into. They're just a very difficult thing to service. All your front panel calibrations, and this machine is quite extensive as far as how it calibrates compared to other machines. It's a lot more complex. Why, I don't know, but it is. And these little, tiny little pots here, tiny, are all, you got to deal with all of them when you're calibrating these machines. And they're hard. It's just very, very hard to get in there and make sure that everything is, perfectly doused and perfectly clean. You can do as good as you can. And then when you come back to finish the unit and calibrate it, so far, the ones that I've done, all that stuff works fine. So it's just really hard when these switches are so tiny and so sealed up. Makes it harder to work on. The motor, right here, there's 6 screws, 3, 4, and you got to pull this board, easy to do. And there's 6 screws. You take those 6 screws out and just unplug the wires, and boink, it just pulls straight out. So getting the motor in and out is real easy. And then it's a belt drive machine, so your capstan right here has a belt that wraps around the motor, and there's a pulley on the front of that motor. And you can use 2 different kinds of pulleys on this thing. One of them will allow the machine to operate at 7.5 and 15-inch IPS. The other pulley lets the machine run at 3 3/4 and 7.5. With a machine like this, I highly doubt that somebody is going to want to run it at 3 3/4 and 7.5. But if someone wants to, they do have the ability to do that. Servicing the fuses and stuff is all very easy to do. Taking the boards in and out, a bit harder than many other machines because the wires are so incredibly small, and the connectors that plug into the boards and stuff are really tight. So you got to be real careful when you're pulling these things in and out, or you could yank the wires right out of the connector, and then you got a problem on your hands. So we'll keep you posted on this as we service this stuff up and get it back together. I can show you quick what I mean about the pots or the micro switches. Just let me give you a second. I'm making that micro switch work, pressing it in and out, putting the deoxit on there. Just hoping that it gets down in there and does a good job. These switches are different because you can get stuff in there. So those switches are going to be good to do, easy to do compared to these others. Same thing with these micro switches. All you can do is get them clicking and hope that your fluid can get down inside. We'll show you next time. I'll take this off this board, and so you can see the pots for the line in and line out, and you'll be able to see how the best that you can do to get those things serviced. And we'll keep you posted as we go. The front panels, this is the top, and we have to take that off and take it over to the painter. It gets stripped, base coat, clear coat, cut and buff, PPG. It's an automotive paint job, so you can actually wax it. The bottom panel is kind of an intricate panel, and it's got to be stripped, painted, clear coated, cut and buff. And with all these openings in here, these little holes and everything, when you go to buff this after you got the clear coat on it, you got to be super, super, super careful that you don't put too much pressure on the buffer, or you'll buff right through those edges and they'll look silver. And then basically you got to start over. You got to strip it and repaint it and all that. So these front panels are not easy to work on, to say the least. And then they got to go get the lettering, which again is a very tricky procedure. That's why it costs so much. The green, to make it look bright like it is, it has to be printed 3 times. The first time is a real light gray, almost like a real light gray primer. And then you got to take it out of the housing. It gets cured under ultraviolet. And then you got to print it again with a snow white. And you got to make sure that your device doesn't shift at all, even a couple thousandths, or you'll get a bleed off and you'll see 2 colors. And then you cure it again, and then your third pass is the actual color. And when that goes on over, the second coat is a snow white. It's a pure white. And then the color goes on over that, and that's what makes that color pop like that. It gives it that, almost looks illuminated. But it's a very, very time-consuming, expensive procedure. And like with us, if it screws up and, it moves in printing and you see, that it's fuzzy and you can see the other color underneath, the only thing you can do is start over. You got to strip it down, paint it, clear coat it. You got to do the whole thing again, and then take it back to the printer. And the thing with the printing process with these and the techniques is we pay whether it comes out or not, because there's a huge amount of time involved, and it's such delicate work that even just a couple thousandths will ruin the lettering process. So like an example, the first techniques that we did, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago or whatever, we gave the printer 45 panels, and out of the 45, 27 of them turned out. The rest of them, there was a problem, and we basically had to swallow it and start over. And that was the deal we had to make with the printer. There was no other way that they would take the job. The second time, we gave them 45 panels again, and the second time we got 35 out of it. So they got a little better the second go around. And this last time, that within the last year, we did we gave them 40 panels to do, and 38 of them came out. So this last run was a real good one. We try to do that many so that we have these things, so we don't have to worry about it a year from now. We don't have to worry about running out. So right now with our Technique stuff, we're good to go for quite a while with our McIntosh-style panels. These, we did 4. We had 4 machines, so we did 4 fronts. So we're going to be able to do 4 BR20s to go out to SkyFi. And whether we do any more after that, I don't know, you know, because we don't have the machines. We've got over 100 Techniques machines, but all we had of these was 4. So that's what we're going to end up with. You just have to wait and see if we end up doing any more of them. But we'll keep you posted on this second machine as we put it back together. And see you next time. Be sure to say hi and you like it or whatever. And see you next go around.